Welcome to the African Green Revolution Forum here in Kigali, Rwanda. We are live at the Kigali Convention Center. My name is Jeff Koinange. I'll be your moderator for this Youth Town Hall, a very historic town hall that'll feature youth not only live here at the Kigali Convention Center, but live across the continent, from Lagos to Nairobi, from Harare to Banjul, from Mogadishu. All across the continent, the youth are going to be speaking out virtually with us this afternoon. And just to add to the fact that this is a serious event, a man who's been promoting the youth from day one. We're going to be joined live on the screen very shortly by His Excellency Paul Kagame, the President of Rwanda. That's going to be our show this afternoon, folks. It's all about the youth, so start tweeting. The Twitter handles are @AGRF, @AGRA. We have several hashtags. Hashtag Feed the Cities, hashtag Grow the Continent, hashtag Virtual Summit, hashtag AGRF 2020, hashtag Youth Town Hall. Now, without further ado, I'd like to invite the African Green Revolution chair of the Partners Group, who also happens to be former Ethiopian Prime Minister, His Excellency Haile Mariam Desalegn, who will give opening remarks and also introduce the President of Rwanda. His Excellency Prime Minister, the floor is yours.
Your Excellency, President Paul Kagame, President of the Republic of Rwanda, honorable ministers, dignitaries and emerging dignitaries, both those of you present here in Kigali and those joining us virtually all across the country, the continent, and the world. It is a distinct honor to be with you here today for this Youth Town Hall discussion. Over the years, the AGRF Town Hall has become one of our hallmark sessions of the AGRF Summit. It is one we look forward to as an opportunity to hear from our young people rather than simply to be present with them. The future of Africa's agriculture rests with the youth, African youth. Africa is in the height and midst of a crisis and also an opportunity. And you can see a hell lot of emergencies, including COVID-19 pandemic, climate-induced extreme drought and floods, desert locusts, fall worms, name it. The fact is that most African youth are not employed. By 2035, within the coming 15 years, Africa should generate 350 million new jobs, according to the World Bank estimate. There is reasonable potential for agriculture to create employment and jobs. African youth has not yet fully realized agriculture as a profitable opportunity for livelihood. You can challenge this notion if you like. Of course, we are not talking about subsistence agriculture when it comes saying that agriculture has potential. It is only about commercial, technology-driven, modern agriculture, and this is the best way to entice young people to engage in the farms. Digital and precision agriculture is attractive to the youth. Is it? This is what we old guys are assuming. What is your perspective in this regard should be the discussion at this forum. Today's town hall is a unique platform. I'm sure that African youth talking to their fellow youth to bring about a new perspective, a unique perspective on the future of African agriculture and African youth employment and jobs. As AGRF Group, we are here today to learn and share experiences with you. with all stakeholders, with the vision of transforming Africa's agriculture. I'm sure, again, there are a number of experiences and best practices of our young people in the agri-food systems, both from the innovators and adapters alike. What is the biggest or binding constraints to make learning and agriculture as a career for the young as an African youth? Is it learning the digital and technological skill needed in today's agriculture production and the marketing systems? Or is it making land available to the youth to fund? Or it is the land tenure system we have? How can more yields from smaller space be produced? Will vertical agriculture be feasible given our capability? Above all, do you feel that you are getting or receive political or financial support that allows you to be viable or scale up your innovations and creativity? Do governments, development assistance groups, and the private sector willing to invest in agricultural innovation hubs and incubation centers? What can be done to maximize that? Finally, a simple question. Do you have a commitment to engage and take an interest in modern, innovative agri-food systems as a whole? The importance of this event grew over the years, thanks in large part to my predecessor, the previous chairman of AGRA and the AGRF Partners Group, Strive Masiwa. I want to recognize his leadership today in this agenda, and Strive regrets that he can't be here with us this year due to other essential obligations and work he is along to support the continent with COVID-19 response. Instead, I have the pleasure today to invite another friend who is an equal champion of youth leadership across the continent, another leader who recognizes that our future belongs to our youth, and we must do ever more to support our ideas, efforts, and leadership if we are to achieve our ambitious goals. Of course, this is my friend, His Excellency President Paul Kagame, President of Rwanda. His Excellency had an opportunity to meet the other day to discuss the AGRF summit, and he immediately seized upon this opportunity to be with you here today when I mentioned that this youth town hall would be taking place. This is certainly a testament to the influence and the importance of the youth with us today, and so appreciate Your Excellency joining with us to share your thoughts and questions. It is also a testament to the special topic that we are engaging on this town hall as an AGRF community. This topic is discussion about where we stand in the goals we have set for ourselves as countries and communities under the SDGs, and how we can get on track even in the face of a global pandemic. One of the best opportunities to do this is through improving the way our food systems work, all the way from production to consumption and what we do with our food waste. This is a discussion that is emerging at the global level, particularly under the call by the UN Secretary General for a Food System Summit in 2021. But we must lead on this agenda as a continent, as an African countries, and within our cities and communities. So today, we are pleased to hear a few words from His Excellency about his vision, but more importantly, to hear from as many youth leaders as possible about your ideas that will shape the future we want. This engagement with the AGRF community is a key part of this journey together. So I look forward to your thoughts today, and I look forward to working with all of you moving forward. For now, please join me in giving a very warm welcome to His Excellency President Paul Kagame.
Good afternoon, my brother, Excellency Haile Mariam Desalegn, Dr. Agnes Kalibata, our moderator, Jeff Koinange, and all the town hall participants, especially the youth. I welcome you all to Rwanda to participate in this hybrid gathering and also those joining us remotely. I thank AGR and partners for organizing these meetings and for choosing Kigali as the venue. Despite the COVID pandemic, I trust you will take time to safely enjoy your stay in Rwanda. I was invited to interact with you before your session today, and I'm very happy to join you. The potential of agriculture on our continent is vast. We need to invest more and get more out of the investments we have already made. This includes public infrastructure and value chains, particularly for the growing urban food markets that underpin prosperity in rural areas. What we need from you is the corresponding focus and innovative spirit so that agriculture can indeed serve as the basis of Africa's economic transformation. Without much ado, I thank you and look forward to discussing this further with you today. Most welcome once again.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and great to see you. I know you've been in cabinet meetings most of the day, but you insisted you wanted to engage the youth. So we have youth from across the continent, from Lagos to Johannesburg, from Nairobi to the Gambia, from Mogadishu to Harare, and of course here, locally, live. Like you said, it's a hybrid youth town hall. So we're all together here, and the questions from the youth. We're going to go first straight to Nairobi, where you find Nima Grace Mutemi, who has a question for President Kagame. Nima, what is your question for President Kagame?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I believe I speak for all the youth of Africa today when I say it's a rare privilege to have the head of state engaging with us directly on our responsibility in building our continent back better following the global pandemic. Specifically as regards to food system, it's been reported that Africa holds the key to feeding its growing populations, especially in cities, as well as feeding the rest of the world. This means most countries have to move from being net importers of food, as is currently the reality, to net exporters. So, Mr. President, what is your vision for the future of food systems?
In our vision, we want to transform our agriculture from mostly subsistence to a modern, knowledge-based sector that ensures both food and nutrition security and also creates value and contributes to our economy. This means, therefore, a stronger role for the private sector, including farmers, with the government acting as a market enabler rather than dominating the market. And increased profits will come from higher yields and higher value agricultural commodities such as horticulture, poultry, pork, and fisheries, just to mention a few. So our vision brings all that together, and the rest is for our people to do.
Absolutely. The rest is for our people to do. Mr. President, we have a question all the way from Johannesburg. Mashiri Zvarimwa is an agribusiness and digital innovation expert. Mashiri, over to you. What's your question for President Kagame?
Thank you very much, Jeff, and good afternoon, Your Excellency. Mr. President, youth are the future of African food systems. What can you do to help us build this future together?
Well, besides enabling good policy, we are working to provide the required infrastructure and to support research. And you will find that this is across the whole continent. Each country really is focused on a number of things, but these are the common ones. We have put in place social protection and emergency response measures, especially for climate change adaptation, and increased access to finance for farmers. In Rwanda, particularly, we have partnered with the Howard Buffett Foundation to establish the Rwanda Institute for Conservation Agriculture, which is educating a new generation of agriculture entrepreneurs in the latest sustainable farming practices. Rwanda has also facilitated the establishment of a youth platform, the Rwanda Youth in Agribusiness Forum. And some of you are here today, which targets opportunities in the agricultural sector domestically and regionally.
All right, Mr. President, thank you so much. Thanks, Mashiri, for that question. Mr. President, I know you're busy. You have to go back to your cabinet meeting, but I'm sure you have a challenge to the youth right now. What is it you want that you're challenging them going forward? What would you want them to know going forward?
I want the young people, first, based on the question that what do they want for the future of food in the communities where these young people live? And how will they lead everyone, lead us there where they want us to be? I think the youth must be challenging themselves to think about these particular questions. What do they want themselves in the future of food in our communities? But secondly, what do they want, or what do they see as their role to lead these communities, to lead the people of Africa in that place where we want to be? Those are the two aspects I would want to leave with the young people to think about and challenge themselves. But we shall work together. It's the young, it's the old working together to achieve all this.
Absolutely. Two good questions, Mr. President. We're going to be pondering that in the next couple of hours. We will beg your leave, Mr. President, and also former Prime Minister of Ethiopia, as we think about those two questions. Folks from around the continent, what do you want? And most especially, how will you lead us to where you want us to be? Mr. President, thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. The youth now will engage for the next couple of hours in this historic town hall meeting. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jeff. I wish you all the best for the work you have before you today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. Prime Minister, anytime you wish. It's good. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. All right, folks, we're going to go straight to Tijani, Falak Tijani, a consultant at Sahel Consulting in Lagos, Nigeria. Falak, if you can hear me, you heard the president's question there. What do you want? How will you lead us to where we want to be? Falak.
What I want to see in the African food system is more collaborations. And collaborations at the institutional level, I'm thinking about it through knowledge sharing. I want to see an African food system whereby government and the various institutions come together and share the different knowledge that they've gathered over the years while recognizing the realities of their various countries. At the grassroots level, I want to make sure we have farmers, an ecosystem where farmers are empowered, but not only farmers, but also all the other players in the system. We all know the important role that farmers play, but we also have the service providers. We have the agribusinesses that are also important players that boost in the economy of each country. Providing a platform where all these players come together and collaborate and share knowledge, share the various innovations that they've come across. Imagine a world where a farmer in Nigeria, can reach out to a farmer in Zimbabwe and then share knowledge about the production of food. That is an ecosystem that we want to have. And through some of our work, personally, what we have a platform that is called the Nourishing Africa platform, that is a hub that is seeking to bring together stakeholders along the value chains and promoting food from Nigeria, food from South Africa, and different parts of the world.
All right. Thank you, Falak. And speaking of reaching out, let's reach out from Lagos to Banjul, where we find Ibrahim Cisse of CAADP Youth Network. Ibrahim, your thoughts on these two provoking questions?
I greet you in the name of God, the most beneficent, the most merciful, for bringing us together today. First of all, what we want is job creation. We need to create jobs for young people in the agribusiness and agricultural value chain. Second is also wealth creation. So when you think agriculture, you think wealth. And number three is human security, because when there is food security, there's human security. And how do we intend to do this? How do we intend to lead this, as the president asked? The president himself is a champion of the Comprehensive Africa Agricultural Development Program, which we run the youth network. So what we want to do is, we realized that in 2011, the African Union Head of State met in Malabo to reduce youth unemployment by 2% every year from 2011 to today, but that has not happened. In fact, youth unemployment has been on the increase every year. So what we want to do in our network is to create 1 million jobs for young people in the agricultural value chain by 2025. And we intend to do this by ushering in 1,000 young entrepreneurs by 2021 that will in turn create these 1 million jobs. How do we intend to get there? We intend to get there through FARM. It's not the physical farm. F stands for finance, innovative financing, especially for young women in agriculture. A stands for access to land, access to technology, and also access to renewable energy. And then R stands for renewable energies that are transferable and also affordable. M is market and mobility. This is because the human mind is a living farm, and what young people need to do is to cultivate the right ideas and harvest success for the Africa we want by 2063. Shalom.
Excellent, Ibrahim. Finance, access, renewable energy, and markets. Farm, very well put. Okay, we're going to come back to Kigali, live here at the Convention Center, where we find Emmanuel Ndayizige, right? Ndayizigiye. He's chairman of youth company Horticulture in Reality Corporation, or HORECO. Emmanuel, your thoughts?
Thank you very much. My name is Emmanuel Ndayizigiye, as you mentioned. I'm Chief Executive Officer, CEO of Horticulture in Reality Corporation, called HORECO. So as you may know, HORECO is a big organization of young engineers who got trained in Israel. So upon coming to the country, we met and agreed to create this organization so that we can disseminate these skills got from Israel and also in other academia. So currently we are implementing different projects where one is focusing in valorizing irrigation schemes where around 100 young engineers are coaching the farmers associated in different cooperatives. Most importantly, we are partnering also with the AGRA, Alliance for Green Revolution, in the project of producing potato seeds where around 20 hectares are seasonally used to produce pre-basic and basic seeds. So if really I tackle about the challenges that we are facing, which can be the opportunities for the entrepreneurs who are in my country, Rwanda, and also in Africa, I would like first of all talk about the seed availability and distribution. In Rwanda, we have a proverb says, umwana apfira mwiterura, which means if we are not caring about our kids in their childhood, really we are destroying their future. As well as in crops, if you are not starting from the seeds, good seeds, we are not having a good production. So you can't imagine how much quantities that we are importing from abroad, and really it is opportunities for the entrepreneurs in Africa who can use those opportunities to produce the seeds while importing them from abroad. Last time we used to import the seeds of cherries, badai, 1 kg costed us around 2,000 USD. So really, I can encourage the entrepreneurs to come and to invest in that sector of seed production. But I cannot finish without tackling about mechanization, where really we need to involve the mechanization if we need to do agriculture in a sustainable way. Whether in land preparation, seed sowing, in pest and disease control, in harvesting, in post-harvesting, because this will help us to reduce the time to have the good quality, quantity, and also will reduce the cost of production for the farmers. So we are the witness, all of us, in the lockdown pandemic period, everyone used to store food. So it showed the world that agriculture is the most important sector in human being. So let's put our endeavors in agriculture so that we'll be able to feed our citizens, our people, including the cities where we live. May God bless you. May God bless everyone here presented.
All right, Emmanuel. Thank you very much for that. From the convention center in Kigali, let's go all the way to Lusaka, Zambia. We find Unike Firinari. She's the founder and president, Zambia Young Emerging Farmers Association, and also executive director of Amicus Zambia Limited. Unike, your thoughts?
Thank you, Jeff. For me, it's sustainability. As a smallholder farmer, despite having access to so much land, I believe we have to be mindful of our own needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So for me, food systems should be able to accommodate the various cultures, norms, values that Africa has as a continent, so that everybody is accommodated. And this in turn will encourage all of us to engage in sustainable means of agriculture. And all stakeholders should be encouraged to do so. One major challenge that I've seen in the agriculture value chain, especially for us young people, is access to finance. We are asked to provide loans, collateral, for us to get money from the banks. But the majority of the smallholder farmers, especially young people, are people who've just left school, people who are just graduates, who don't really have collateral. So for me, access to finance should be something that really we should address for youth to sustainably engage in agriculture. Thank you.
Very good point, Unike. Sustainability and access to finance. And I'm sure Wanja Rispa, who's a student and founding member of AGRICUA in Nairobi, you have the same challenges as well there in Nairobi, don't you, Rispa?
Yes, Jeff, I do share the same sentiments as Unike, but mine is more directed towards specification. I believe there's a very huge gap in farming in Africa. whereby we have a very large of our population in farming, doing small-scale farming, but that does not exactly answer our food needs, and neither does it protect the sustainability of our food systems for the future. So I believe what I see as the biggest opportunity for food systems in Africa is specification whereby farmers can unite and be farming just one maybe crop, or specifying to just do one activity in the many opportunities within the food systems. And that way we are guaranteed of a future that both takes care of the needs of consumers and the farmers themselves. Because at the end of the day, my biggest conviction is that every human being in Africa deserves dignity. And
Okay,
that
Rispa,
involves not living poverty. Yes?
Let me ask you real quick. You heard what the president said. Remember those two questions. What do you see as your role to lead the people of Africa to where you want us to be? What is your role?
Okay, I think my role number one is as a young person speaking out to other young people like myself, but also being actively involved in activities that I believe are leading us toward that future. And I believe I'm already in that space, given that I'm currently the president of Lapid Leaders Africa Student Council, which is dealing with empowering and training young people to take up leadership in Africa in whatever area they feel called to, whether it's agriculture or it's in recycling or it's in waste management. Whichever the case, I think I'm already playing that role.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. Okay, from Nairobi, let's come back to the Kigali Convention Center. Davis Mugira is CEO and founder of SpiderBit. Davis, what is SpiderBit?
Thank you. SpiderBit is a tech company. We specialize in e-commerce solutions for agricultural commodities.
Okay, you heard your president there right now a few moments ago. What do you want, Davis? What do you want?
I want market access for the farmers. Because especially when you're talking about youth, when you're talking about farmers, and nobody's going to do agriculture if it's not profitable. Nobody is going to invest into the farm production, and in the end, is not able to get to secure the market. So we find that it's important to do what it takes, especially involving technology, to increase the market access, to be able to market to a wide market of buyers. Traditionally in Africa, the market is person to person. But how can we now leverage the technology, especially the internet, to be able to access the market all over the world? How do I make sure that I put my seed in the soil when I have already secured the market? It's only if we embrace technology, if we embrace e-commerce platforms like Ihaho, and be able to secure the market. Because if you look at the old men and women in agriculture, they have no choice. They are doing this, they have no alternative. But if now you bring somebody from, as a graduate, to go into a business, invests, and in the end, incur losses, he has an alternative to go look for a job in an office. It's only way to make sure that we have the market ahead of time. This is what SpiderBit is doing. We're providing e-commerce solutions to the farmers. Thank you.
Fantastic. Good stuff, Davis. Appreciate that. Okay, from the convention center, let's try and see if Esnath Divasoni is on. Esnath, are you somewhere out there online? If not, we can go to Mohammed Abdi Noor in Mogadishu.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, there she is. Okay, Esnath, good to see you. What do you want, Esnath? How can you lead us there?
I believe in skills sharing. Education is the key. Once you have educated youth, you can empower them for them to be able to produce better and to be climate smart. I'm looking at sharing skills and knowledge with the forgotten communities. And we are already doing this in parts of Zimbabwe through a program that we are calling the Agricultural Guide Program with Comfort. And we are empowering young men to ensure that they produce better. Once they produce better, they can be able to feed their families, to feed their communities, and send more food to the cities. This is all through skills sharing and through education. I want to see a youth that is educated, that is empowered in agriculture. That is the only way we can ensure that we have sustainable food systems in Africa. Thank you.
Very well put. I hadn't asked you where you are, Esnat, but I figured you talked about Zimbabwe, so you must be in Zimbabwe.
Yes, I'm in Harare, Zimbabwe.
Fantastic. Thank you, Esnat. Stay on the line, folks. This is a great conversation. Let's go from Harare, let's go to Mogadishu. We find Mohammed Abdi Noor. He's a member and founder, Youth Agro-Marine Development Association. Salam alaikum, my brother. Talk to us. What do you want?
Okay. Thank you. I'm great to be here. My role in the youth of the food system is to organize and to assist youth farmers, especially youth that they drop out the schools and those graduated from high schools. My point today is here to make basic to give like capacity building and training for this youth. And especially, the main challenge that, that these youth that they have is they don't have, organization or assisting, centers, to organize youth and to give, assistance, and then to make centers that they can get, education that they can apply, for their home cities. And the other thing is, the farmers is the vulnerable community that the primary producers. So we encourage for those actors, especially governments, international NGOs, to give basic assistance, especially financing and insurance if maybe it happened like some disasters. Like for example, in some regions in East Africa, especially in Somalia now, it has happened some diseases, especially locusts, that they just removed all the crops. So if those farmers, they can get some insurance in the future, they have motivation to continue for their production. So I would like to say here today, it's very important to give for these farmers for assistance and organize. That's my point. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mohammed Abdino. Good point. Insurance in case of locusts, insurance in case of shocks, we call them. That's a very good point there. From Mogadishu, let's go to Nairobi. Amanda Namaye, now you're the lead of Go Getters. What is Go Getters for those who don't know? Amanda, tell us.
Yes, thank you, Jeff, and hello to everyone who is tuning in. So the Go Getters is a collaborative community. I'd like to echo what His Excellency Haile Mariam said, that Africans should talk together and talk with each other. So the Go Getters Africa is a platform that brings together African agripreneurs who are youth, where they come from across the value chains. And we are not just talking about the youth, we are talking together as the youth. And also this platform brings together partners, policymakers, and everyone else in the ecosystem. So seeing that we've been hosted today by the president of Rwanda, it is very encouraging. So Go Getters Africa brings together every value chain player in one home online community. And also we do have the Go Getters Prize. The pitches were yesterday, the finale is tomorrow. So please join in and watch. And yes, it's a safe space for youth to get opportunities to grow and to interact with each other.
I'm glad you mentioned that Go Getters Prize because there's some people who've never heard about it. And then some people who just jump on it, they grab the ball and they run with it. You've seen some of the entries there. What's the potential like across the continent with these young people you're engaging with? What's the potential?
There's great potential. Actually, I'd like to quote Winston Churchill, never let a crisis go to waste. So we could see from the pictures yesterday that there were some innovations that came up during the COVID-19 storm. And it was exciting to see how, as youth, we are thinking outside the box. We are not being contained by any situation, be it COVID, be it drought, be it locusts. As youth, we are agile, we're thinking on our feet. So there's a lot of potential. There are lots of industries that we saw, innovation, ICT, finance, coming together to bolster the agriculture sector. So it is really exciting to see the youth take up the ball, as you say. So yes, please, the finale is tomorrow. You will see more, yes.
Fantastic. Thanks, Amanda Namai. She's the lead at Go Getters Africa. Let's come back to the Kigali Convention Center, where we find our very own Etienne Niyigaba. Now, he's a Youth Engagement in Agriculture Network. Etienne, your thoughts?
Thank you, Jeff. My name is Etienne Niyigaba, as you said, and I'm the founder of Youth Engagement in Agriculture Network, which is a social enterprise in agriculture extension in Rwanda. Coming back to the question or to the challenge we got from His Excellency, what do you want? What do I want for this agriculture sector to be somehow advanced? So with the network we are having and the social enterprise, YAN, Youth Engagement in Agriculture Network, we want the skills deployment. You know, we are having a community of farmers, but most importantly, our farmers are lacking a bit part of skills because, you know, agriculture is a science, and that science have to be applied in the soil, which has a science behind. So we are trying our best to deploy the scientific facts to the community, and we are teaching farmers, we are facilitating farmers in their farms to get the best from their soil.
Etienne, what is your role? What is your role?
My role, in 2014, I founded this social enterprise, and now, up to now, we are serving up to 1,200 farmers throughout Rwanda, and within the next 5 years, we are aiming to reach 150,000 farmers with private extension activities. We are doing this out of our passion as young people, and we are giving job to young people to serve the community and to try our best to help the agriculture sector to take some advancement. I also can mention that for our agriculture to take some development, we need input supply, more input use and input investment. We also need a kind of agriculture mechanization. We are still using the very best traditional ways of producing food, where we are still using hoes. I remember the last, in the last AGRF summit, the president of the African Development Bank mentioned that we have to put the hoe in the museum, but it was a dream that I can still share today, that we need to deploy mechanization activities and tools to the community for us to produce for the next 9 billion people who will be habitating the world, and to the most youthful population that is actually booming in the cities and rural communities of Africa.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Etienne. Appreciate that. From Kigali, let's go out to Harare in Zimbabwe. Elizabeth Gulugulu. She's a youth delegate, Africa Youth Initiative on Climate Change. Elizabeth, what is your role?
I work with a group of young people. Definitely what we do is to promote sustainable food systems through climate-smart agriculture initiatives, agroecology initiatives, and also pave the way for young people to promote and also contribute into policy formulation. We definitely cannot talk about agriculture without the innovative side. So what I'm saying is innovation is the future of agriculture, and enabling stakeholders should create a safe environment, a good environment for youth innovators to contribute. And these ideas are cross-cutting from pre-production level to production level to supply chain and to the consumption level. So I'm talking about the genetically modified seeds, I'm talking about gene banks. All this can be some of the ways of innovation, and young people can play in that, coming up with good agricultural practices and doing research capacity. We need capacity when it comes to research. We need capacity when it comes to the technical aspect of things. We also need young people to be trained to be technical experts on how they can reduce their greenhouse gas emissions. They're practicing their farming. This is what we're talking about. And when it comes to consumption, we need to reduce our food losses. But what are we going to do with the food waste? Where are we taking it? How are we going to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions by disposing our foods? Because that food is biodegradable, so it's supposed to go back into the field. So basically, this is what I do, and this is what I've been working on.
Fantastic. Thanks for that, Elizabeth. And thank you all, folks, for staying online. You all very bubbly, very wonderful. You have great spirit. Rispa, you look a little tired there holding your head, but it's okay. Just hang in there. You see, we can see everything, Rispa. We see everything here. So let's keep engaging. And from Harare, let's go to Ibadan in Nigeria. Olawole Olagbaju, he's the managing director, Real People Concept. Olawole, you heard the president, you heard his call. Your thoughts, what is your role?
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. We also appreciate His Excellency for that great thought-provoking speech he made. Now, for me, I looked at the gap that exists in the industry where I operate. I would say in the last 10 years, Real People Concept has provided and supported livestock technology for improved livestock productivity. And in recent time, because of the failure of artificial insemination in the cattle breed improvement program of the federal government, this has really dampened the spirit of a lot of cattle farmers, that want to improve on the breed of their cattle. Our cattle gives like 2 liters of milk on the average per day. And if we want to also be food secured, we need to have breeds of cattle that can give us a little more. And so we embarked on a project that we call RPC Cattle Hub to improve on the milk yield of our cattle by introducing exotic genes of bulls that when their calves are also giving birth, we can have at least 10 liters of milk per day. So I believe in identifying the gap that exists and taking steps in filling the gap, and that is what we have started to do. And one of the things I also want to mention is that we should. Yep. Yes.
Is it working? Is it working? Increasing the milk production?
Well, Jeff, this is a project that we just started, and this was born out of the fact that there is need for us to improve our milk yield locally. And if we have to do that, we need to improve on the breeds of our cattle. And that is what we are doing by introducing exotic genes to our cattle for this improvement program. Jeff.
Okay. From Nigeria, let's go back to Zimbabwe, in Bindura, to be precise. Jessica Muzabindo at Bindura University of Science and Education. Jessica, your thoughts?
Oh, okay, my thought. Thank you, Jeff. My thought, I think that my role as someone who's coming from a university, I have finished my master's degree in food security and sustainable agriculture. I believe that as a holder of a master's degree, I should ensure on capacity building, sharing knowledge to young farmers out there so that they can be able to be resilient in face of climate change or maybe climate adaptation. So I need to teach them skills on how they can adapt and how can they also have value addition for their resources which they can have. For instance, we have farmers who engage into beekeeping. we can only not get honey from those from that product. There are many benefits which can come from beekeeping. Hence, if we capacitate our farmers, teaching them how they can value how can they value do value addition on beekeeping, the value chain which comes along. We also know that instead of just doing it as a subsistence for their well-being and livelihoods, they can also do that as a commercializing, which can also improve in their livelihoods, bringing income to their families. So I believe that as well, we can teach them more technology, which is advanced, which they can produce more honey more. Some of our farmers, we've noted that they engage into they harvest edible insects, but you see that those insects, they are available seasonally. So it means that they need to be taught on preservation of those insects, such that they can still have them during the period when they are not available. So my point is like, I believe my role is to engage them and link them with organizations. We can help them to with finances, since some of them, they cannot produce much because of lack of finances. So I believe, like, as a youth, I should help those I should help them to link them with supporters, which can help them market and also market their product.
All right, Jessica, thank you so much for that. From Bindura in Zimbabwe, let's come back to the Kigali Convention Center. I'm going to open the floor. 3 gentlemen have spoken from the floor. I need a lady to speak because we all know the backbone of agriculture in Africa is women. Is there a woman who would like to contribute anything on the floor here live? No pressure. No pressure at all. Anybody, any contribution? What is your role? How will you get us there? Okay, do I have a microphone? Anybody? They said if Muhammad doesn't come to the mountain, mountain comes to Muhammad. Where's the microphone? There you go. Ah, there we go. Tell us who you are and who you represent, please.
Thank you. My name is Maria Providence. I'm involved in agriculture as a technician in AGRF, which is the World Agroforestry Center. And I'm doing agriculture here in Kigali. I have some farm. And what you have to do as women and youth to contribute in improving our agricultural sector, I think we have to empower women, as we always say it, and they are really conscient to be involved. As others have said, we have to ensure their trainings and education. We have to support them, because where I work in different rural area, I see most of women are really involved in vegetable production, and they are struggling in post-harvest because they really lose more in post-harvest.
So they need more access to markets, you think?
Sorry?
They need transportation to the market?
Transportation manner. Yeah,
okay.
They have to be really trained on post-harvest, on transport,
right,
and to access those particular
markets.
Market,
yeah,
and
What are you growing? What do you have on your farm?
In my farm, I grow maize.
Only maize?
Yes. Intercrop with
how big is your farm?
2 hectares.
2 hectares, about 4 acres. Why did you go into farming?
Sorry?
Why farming? You could have been an IT expert somewhere or doctor. Why farming?
I make farming because I really like it, and I want to contribute to food security and to make agriculture sector more really strong.
Fantastic.
And to see what our challenges farmers are really facing in their activities.
Yeah.
So,
Well done.
thank you.
Well done. You're going to do well. Yeah, give a round of applause. I mean, yeah. Well done. Very good. Folks, I'm going to come back to you online. And Ife and Olivier, I haven't forgotten you, okay? So, don't worry. Is there anyone who hasn't said anything before I ask one question? Then we can wrap things up very shortly. Anyone who hasn't contributed? Did I miss anyone out? I hate missing people out. So many names. All right. I haven't. Ife, I haven't forgotten you. Olivier, I will come to you, okay? Don't worry. Before I do that, let me throw a question to everyone around the room, okay? And it's real quick. It's real quick. And again, we'll start with you, Nima Grace Mutemi, at the board chair of 4-H Foundation in Kenya. If you had one wish, this is a wish list, and don't take too much time, but if you had a wish list, Nima Grace, what would it be?
Jeff, that's a very tough question. But top of my wish list would be engaging young people in decision making. And this means, young people ends at 25, according to the universal definition. And in Africa, we go up to 35. If those people are not being engaged in decision making at the farm level, cooperative boards, and farm associations, trade unions, then we are missing the point because we are representing the majority of the African population.
All right. Mashiri, your wish list. What would be top of your wish list? Mashiri Zvarimwa.
Yes, Jeff. So my wish list is to see a strong establishment of the ecosystem of innovative entrepreneurs or agripreneurs in Africa. So yeah, that's straight to the point. A very strong ecosystem of innovative entrepreneurs.
Good point. Thank you. Falak Tijani, top of your wish list.
Yes, I think I'll piggyback of Mashiri is a strong ecosystem of young entrepreneurs in Africa that have where the government provides them an enabling environment as well to operate in the agricultural space.
Ibrahim Cisse, what would you wish for if you had one wish? Just unmute. There you go.
Yeah. First of all, it will be for every young person to be the powerhouse of every African nation. That's who we are. We're the powerhouse of every African nation. So my wish will be 3 things. One is capacity in terms of knowledge and resources. Second will be capabilities in terms of quality. And lastly will be abilities in terms of our skills and talents.
So Ibrahim, I asked you for one wish and you asked for 3. How does that work?
Invest in youth development. Investment in youth development.
I'll take that. Unike Firinari, one wish.
Predictable markets. As a smallholder farmers, it's very difficult to grow crops without knowing how the market is out there. And I think it runs through the entire value chain. So for me, access to markets and predictable markets works for me.
Very good. Works for me too. Wanja Risper, one wish. Unmute.
If I were to pick just one thing out of my many wishes, I would go with an open market in Africa. Our borders open to each other and we trade with one another because I believe we have a large enough population to consume what we produce and to encourage as much farming within our continent as possible.
Absolutely. Esnath Divasoni, one wish. could be your command or our command? Esnath?
My one wish is on women empowerment. If we empower the rural population, especially the rural women who are at the backbone of food production in the rural communities, we can get to where we want. So my wish is for empowerment of all rural women, especially the youths.
I'm with you there 100%, Esnath. Thank you so much for that. Mohammed Abdinur in Mogadishu, your one wish.
My first priority wish is to organize, and assist youth, both, those who dropped out and, those who graduated, to give training and capacity building, and then to get strong, skills and knowledge, to affect the food security.
Skills and knowledge, very important. Thank you, Mohammed. Amanda Namai, go-getters, go get them, your one wish.
Yes, let me go get them with my one wish would be Pan-African collaboration amongst the youth in agriculture. And that is the core and what sits at the heart of the Go Getters Africa community. Yes.
Pan-African collaboration, very good. Elizabeth Gulugulu, one wish.
My wish is to have a generation of young people that are capacitated, young African minds that can negotiate for our natural resources, understand sustainable food systems and food security itself. That's my own list.
Excellent. Olawole Olagbaju, your one wish, other than cows producing more than 2 liters?
Yeah, Jeff, my wish is actually to see a resilient food system that is sustainable, that enhances the elder living and the prosperity of the African people.
Resilient food system, fantastic, well put. Jessica Muzamindo, your one wish.
My wish is for resources availability, especially finance, to our young youths, to the most vulnerable, who have the knowledge but they don't have the capacity to do that because they have limited finances.
Very well put. Thank you all. Stay on, because we're going to get some summations. And we're going to start ladies first. Ife Umuna, she's a program lead at Nourishing Africa. Ife, give us your summation going forward. And keep in mind the questions the president asked. What is your role? What do you want? Ife, go ahead.
Hi, Jeff. So to answer the question first, I think for me, what I want to see is youth at the helm of the conversations, having a seat at the table and not the back seats in front, discussing what we need for us to move forward. I think it's important that we are part of the conversation when policies are set that affect us directly. And through my work at Nourishing Africa, what we currently do is to try and provide resources, tools, and information needed for these entrepreneurs, particularly young entrepreneurs, to scale their businesses across the continent. And to sum up what my colleagues and I have said today, we've seen a lot of people talk about collaboration and partnerships, Falak and Amanda in particular. And I think this is really important because for us, we've really realized that it's important to be able to partner to grow. We can't do it alone. We don't want to do it alone. So we need to ensure that we collaborate for success. Another idea that's been passed around through various of my colleagues is the idea of sustainability. Oftentimes we see that we do things for X amount of time and thereafter it doesn't continue. We need to find ways that whatever it is we're doing, we move forward in a sustainable manner. And this also ties into education, skills transfers, and capacity building. Oftentimes we see that certain amounts of people have the skills needed to perform the duties needed to be while others don't. And for us to all grow and for us to all move forward together, we need to ensure that we all have the same skills. And we might have different skills, but we know each other, and that's when the collaboration comes back in. And lastly, for me, we need to think about agriculture and food as agribusinesses. The emphasis is on business. Oftentimes people really talk about agriculture as a hobby or as something you do on the side, and that to me is unacceptable. If you want to be everybody wants to be in a sector that is profitable, that is thriving, that's exciting. So we need to treat this as a business. We need to ensure that whatever we're doing makes market sense and that we do so sustainably.
Ify, it would be unfair if I left you out of my wish list. So what would be your one wish, Ify?
I wish for gender equity. I really want women to be seen as equal partners, equal access across the board, particularly in the sector, because when you feed and educate and provide access to women, you're doing so for so many other people.
Absolutely. Well put, Ify, well put. Olivier Muvandimwe, he's a program manager, Rwanda Youth in Agribusiness Forum. Olivier, your thoughts?
Yes. Thank you very much, Jeff. Complementing to the wish of all participants here, I would say that everything which has been spoken is very right. And if it is done rightly, it can contribute to the transformation of agriculture from subsistence to productive and market-oriented, as our Excellency wishes for the country or for the world to prosper into the value chain development. Actually, I can sum up all of this by saying that our agriculture need empowered youth. Empower the youth who bring innovation to increase productivity and of course bring the system of resilience to cope with any incidents which can come in our way to stop our progress toward productivity. So that is the one which must be like mandatory to all youth. So, and that must goes with the researchers. Research institution, they can do the research to see how we find the input which can produce some much more to feed the increasing population of Africa, of the countries. Because today we are 1.2 billion, if I'm right, but within 10 years, the number of the growing population of Africa will be just almost 2.4 billion. So we need to think of that.
Olivier.
Another thing is that once the technology and the innovation has been used, the production will be available on the market.
Olivier.
Then we will need to strengthen our marketing system of our product to see whether we can reduce post-harvest loss. Unless we bring the technology increasing productivity without looking on how we can cope with post-harvest loss, every effort that we have been investing in will be nothing.
Okay,
so
Olivier,
we need to think about increasing market,
Olivier,
reducing post-harvest, and also caring about value addition, so that we can at least keep our produces, our agri-food produces for longer period without perish. And then another thing is that we need to care about our institutions. For example, in some of the cooperative, youth cooperative, you can find that there is no any record for what they have been doing for the last 2 years. That is very challenging. And yet we claim that financial institutions doesn't give the loan for us because they don't find any trace of our business doing. So we need to think business mindfully to see how can at least convince the financial institution to invest in us, to trust us, to give us the money that we can use in expanding our business toward the progress of a country, toward the progress of the world, as our contributions is contributing toward development.
Okay, Olivier.
Yes?
Before you go on, you heard President Kagame earlier. What is your role to lead us, the people of Africa, to where you want to be? What is your role, Olivier?
Okay, my Lord, I'm not going to speak as my Lord because I'm representing Rwanda Youth and Agribusiness Forum right now. So let me say our Lord. Our Lord is first of all to empower the youth to take part in increasing productivity of the country, in productivity among us, ourselves. So the role of us as AGRF or as the Rwanda Youth and Agribusiness Forum is to empower youth so that they can empower themselves toward bringing innovations, bringing innovation that will increase productivity, then bringing innovation which will dispose the harvest, bringing innovation which will take agriculture from subsistence to market-oriented, to innovative, to knowledge-based farming, on without considering just only farming, but farming with the purpose.
Farming with a purpose. I like that, Olivier. And I'm not going to leave you out of my wish list. So what is your one wish?
My wish is that all the partners in agriculture should be looking at the youth, because the youth is the future of Rwanda, is the future of Africa, is the future of the world. Think of the youth. An investment, think of the youth. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Olivier. Thank you. Folks, I could talk to you all day long. You know that. I'm just getting warmed up, and the energy in this room is incredible. So, do you want to go on, or shall we just go home?
Let's go on.
Okay, thank you for one person approving.
Let's go on.
Two.
We are home already, so we can keep going.
Well done. All right. In as short a phrase or a couple of sentences as you can, and we're going to go around the room again, the biggest challenge facing you guys right now. And don't give me a whole thesis on it. I just want the biggest challenge. Nima Grace Mutemi, first you, board chair, 4-H Foundation, Kenya. Biggest challenge?
Jeff, the agricultural sector is unstructured. If you went into the agricultural sector today after graduating, there's no saying where you're going to be in 3 years, in 5 years, you know the normal progression. Young people need structure. If you're a HR today, you know within 3 years of experience, this is where you're supposed to be. Without professionalizing the sector, you know, we'll keep attracting young people, but we will keep they'll keep dropping off. So the biggest challenge is that lack of professionalism that, you know, that makes us be taken advantage of by the middlemen and by everyone, you know, who wants to play dirty games, you know, who wants to interfere with market prices. So I think for me, for young people, that's the biggest challenge that we've got.
Very good. Structure. I like that, Nima Grace. Structure. Mashiri Zvarimwa. Biggest challenge?
Yes, Jeff. For me, the biggest challenge is resources in all their form and shape, because resources can be financial, can be land, can be access to technology or markets, but really, in one word, it's resources.
Falak Tijani. Biggest challenge?
Biggest challenge for me will be lack of information. As a consultant, as Sahel Consulting, what we do is we provide ecosystem solutions, we conduct research, and to provide strategies to develop different organizations, from governments to development organizations to private sector actors. And having access to information is one of the biggest challenges that we are facing. As with information is power. With information, we can inform policy development, we can develop strategy for different organizations, farmers, private sector organizations. So my biggest challenge would be lack of information.
Information is power. How true, Falak. Thank you for that. Ibrahim Cisse in the Gambia. Biggest challenge?
Biggest challenge is lack of vision and also lack of organization. So young people, we want to get it now and then, which is practically impossible. And then we're not organized. As you see, we have different youth organizations. So last year, the AU mandated that we come together so we can have a collective voice. Vision and organization.
Fantastic. Vision, organization. I like that. Unike Firinari, biggest challenge?
For me, it's collaboration. I think all of us seem to be doing the same things, but in different spaces. So what I would like to see at the end of this summit is how all of us on this panel can come together and collaborate and see the way forward. What I'm doing in Zambia should also be replicated in Zimbabwe, in Lagos, in Gambia. So for me, it's collaboration. If we collaborate, then we'll be able to pull this thing off. Strength is in numbers for me.
Collaboration, love it. Wanja Rispa, biggest challenge?
I think the biggest challenge I have faced and I've seen other fellow young people face in agriculture particularly is that our agricultural industry is heavily underfunded. And this is so terrible given that our country is heavily reliant on agriculture, yet for the past 4 years, the budget has been reducing every single year. So I do not understand how you want to incentivize young people to come into agriculture on one hand, yet on the other hand, you take away from them even the basic funding that should be sustaining the industry itself.
Absolutely. Good point there. Funding. Mohammed Abdil Nur, biggest challenge?
Yeah, the big challenge that I've made is lack of finance and lack of insurance is the big problem that we have now in our farmers. Because we have some stories like, as I told before, some farmers, they lost, their crops in like 1 day. So like, it comes like locusts and they destroy all the crops. So, and they don't have motivated, to recover, for their production. So lack of finance and lack of insurance is the main challenge that we have now.
Something tells me Mohammed is in the insurance business. That's like the third time he's mentioned insurance, but maybe that's just me. Amanda Namai, your biggest challenge?
That was funny, Jeff. So I will be succinct and concise. To me, what the greatest challenge I see is lack of a conducive, enabling environment in the agriculture sector. Yeah.
Lack of a conducive and enabling environment. Nice.
Correct.
Elizabeth Gulugulu?
Yes, I think the biggest challenge is youth engagement by their respective governments. By engagement, I'm not only talking about having youth being invited to a certain meeting. That is actually the first step, not the end step. So after you invite youth to meetings, we now need to come up with sustainable solutions to continuously engage with youth so that they can actually add value to the government projects, and also the government should actually also add value to the projects that the youth are doing. Thank you.
All right. I just noticed that Divine Intiokam has joined us. He's the Managing Director, Climate Smart Agriculture Youth Network. Divine, if you can hear me, unmute and tell me where you are located.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes, Divine, go ahead.
It's a big pleasure indeed to be part of this.
Where are you?
I mean, after hearing all what my colleagues, I've been able to say it's very, very interesting. I think one of the major issues we have to take into consideration when we talk of food systems, we actually have to ensure the food systems are nutritious and affordable as well, and that the access farm to market should be something very considerable for us to look into as well. And then I equally feel that the key message here I would actually share is we need to collaborate at all levels, from policy right up to rural youth, in ensuring that the results are somehow sustainable for the upcoming future we have generation.
Divine Ntiokam in Niger. Good to talk to you. Esnath, I think I left you out earlier on. Did I leave you out, Esnath? Biggest challenge?
The biggest challenge is financial resources.
Yeah.
Because people are failing to produce well enough because they don't have the financial capability to do so.
Yep. Resources, funding, all that. Olawale, Olabaju, biggest challenge?
Yes. Yeah, Jeff, the biggest challenge I've seen is the image of farmers being projected. That is that of poverty and suffering. That has created a kind of a mental information in the mind of youth that agriculture is about poverty and suffering. So I think we need to begin to project agriculture in a prosperous manner because there is actually prosperity in agriculture. Jeff.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Jessica Muzamindo, biggest challenge?
I think the biggest challenge lies in we have the knowledge, but we don't have the resources, either money, land, or what. So at the same time, you end up saying you want to be employed, working for someone, but at the end of the day, you are unemployed because you have a lack of valid experience which they want. So I feel that's where the greatest challenge lies.
Absolutely. Ife, Umuna, you must have challenges too. What is the biggest challenge according to you, Ife?
I think we need to generate our own data. We can't rely on other countries or institutions, international institutions like the FAO to generate our data. We need to do it ourselves, we need to do it locally, and we need it to be easily accessible to all of us.
Absolutely. Our own data to tell our own stories. Olivier Muvandimwe, biggest challenge?
Okay, thank you very much, Jeff. The biggest challenge that our youth has is a capacity to bring innovations because they are not empowered. Capacity of increasing productivity, capacity of financial literacy. Then that is the first challenge. The second challenge is about the cash.
Yep.
Cash for investment, cash to invest. But however, I can challenge my colleagues youth. We need to open our own senses and look around ourselves and see all the challenges around us that can be opportunities.
Absolutely.
Whenever we have the open sense and find the challenges around us as opportunities, we are in the way of productivity. We are in the way of transforming our food system. Thank you very much.
Out of challenges, we can get opportunities. Thank you very much, Olivier. And thank you, all our virtual guests from across the continent, from Lagos to Banjul, from Harare to Nairobi to Mogadishu to Niger, and points in between. Thank you so much. Don't go away. I'd like us to do a, virtual selfie or whatever they call that. So don't go away. Stay with us. And our live audience here at the Kigali Convention Center, thank you so much for your time. You guys have been great. Give yourselves a round of applause, everybody. Go on. You can do that. And don't forget, you guys are the youth. Let's face it. And President Kagame has challenged you. 2 simple questions. What do you want? And how will you lead us to where you want us to be? In other words, what is your role? What is your role? Think about that going forward in your respective countries and keep spreading the word. You guys know the hashtags. We've got several. Hashtag Feed the Cities, hashtag Grow the Continent, hashtag Virtual Summit, hashtag AGRF 2020, hashtag Youth Town Hall. The handles are AGRF and also AGRA. And you can copy me in if you want at Koinange Jeff. It's been a pleasure, folks. Thanks so much for your time. Thank you all, live audience in Kigali. It's been a fantastic youth town hall. And thank you for tuning in. And keep tweeting, keep questioning, keep sending us messages. That's why we're here. Thank you for your time. Goodbye from Kigali.